The Unfiltered by Jade.
Jade. Welcome to the Unfiltered by Jade, where we get out of the box and dive into topics that are sidelined. I look forward to entertain, educate, and inspire. Feel free to like, share, subscribe, donate, and make everybody know about this.
Beats by RB Records, a proud sponsor of The Unfiltered by Jade.
Shopping Assistance Jamaica takes the stress away. Our services include online and local shopping in Jamaica for individuals and businesses, personal shopping, purchasing of company and office supplies, importing and exporting small packages across Jamaica and worldwide, helping you to find unique gifts and items for all events and occasions. Contact us at 876-919-5195. Shopping Assistance 2015 at gmail.com. Follow Shopping Assistance on Instagram at Shopping Assist JA, at Twitter at Shopping Assist 5, and Facebook at The Shopping Assistance. Shopping Assistance, your style, your budget. Welcome to the Unfiltered by Jade. And today with me we have Krystal Tomlinson, and she is a mom. She's a change maker. She's a YouTuber. She's a podcaster, and she is a resident pump attendant. Well, she's mine. And she is a TEDx speaker, and she's a life architect. So, hi, Krystal.
Thank you so much, Jade. How are you? It's a blessing
Hi.
to be inside your community. So thanks for having me. But how are you doing?
I am doing good, and I'm excited to start this.
As am I. As am I.
All right, so I want to talk about fear. What is fear?
Ooh. Well, I would define fear as the intersection where your purpose meets your insecurities. You'll
Mm,
find in moments when you are to answer the call of your purpose that you
right.
start to feel afraid. And those fears are quite often linked to insecurities we have, whether that insecurity is being judged by others for doing
Right.
something they don't expect us to do, an insecurity around criticism and what that will mean if people's opinions of us change from being favorable
Mm-hmm.
to unfavorable, or the insecurity that comes with loneliness and understanding that this thing that I want to do requires a separation and detachment from the people and the places I love. Fear is the best word to describe that. And the brain has an interesting way of communicating that your insecurities have arrived. It will make you think that you
Wow.
are in danger. The fear center of the brain, your amygdala, will tell you that your life is literally at risk, that you are about to enter a space of danger and harm. And so your heart starts to race and your palms start to sweat and your vision gets blurry and start to stutter. All the things that would happen to you if a lion was chasing you on the tundra in Africa.
You would run.
But it's really just your insecurities saying to you, this is where you are weak. This is
Right.
where you are uncertain. This is where you have limited skill. Don't go there. But
Mm.
we feel such an intense sensation of fear when our purpose is asking us to do something differently.
Wow.
So I would say fear is the intersection of purpose and
Right.
insecurity. And it's what you do at that intersection that determines who wins, the fear or the purpose.
Wow. How do we kill fear, and what makes us fearful? I mean, you gave us some examples before, but how is it that we kill the fear that arises during these situations?
What the research has shown us is that because fear is an internal mechanism that's triggered when we feel unsafe, the
Right.
only way to kill it, to tackle it, to confront it is to hit back with action.
Right.
Because you can't think your way solely through the fear. You have to do something that proves to your brain and your body that you will not die, that a bear is not about to maul you and take an arm or take a leg. It is a feeling. And like all other feelings, it will pass, one, and I will survive even after that
Mm.
negative feeling has had a moment in my spirit. So the best way to conquer the fear is to take an action. Now, sometimes that action is a conversation, right?
Right.
You're afraid to talk to your boss about wanting to change departments because you know your manager love you in that department, but you desire a new challenge and you see a space where you can offer more service and a higher level of excellence, but you're so afraid of what that conversation will require of you. And so
Right.
to kill that fear, you can only do it through having the conversation,
Yes.
recognizing that the person sitting across from you in the meeting room is just another human. And your obligation is simply to speak your truth with compassion and humility. So if you're going to kill fear, you have to take action on the thing that you are afraid of. Now, that will require preparation.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to say, you have to put your clothes on. Your emotional clothes have to be on for you to step out into the world, to answer to the call of your purpose, to kill fear and anxieties, and to prove to your insecurities that you can grow and expand and develop and be successful. But you have to put on the clothes, which is understanding who you are. And I call that self definition.
Right.
How do you define yourself in this world? Are you defined by the accolades and the achievements and the success, or are you defined by your potential, which is really immeasurable and
Right.
unmatched? And
Right.
too many of us limit our definition of self to just our successes. And so the fear of failing at something challenges our
Yes.
very definition of self. So I can't do
Yes.
this thing. Suppose I fail. I am no longer going to be Krystal because Krystal is successful and Krystal does not lose and Krystal always wins. If you limit your definition of self to something so simplistic as how successful you are in your career or your relationship, then fear will always have a hold on you because success is more important to you than tapping into your potential. So the very first duty we have when we get up every day is to refine and connect with our definition of self. Who are you? Who are you when you are winning? Who are you when you are failing? Who are you when you're
There.
hungry, when you're tired, when you're starting on a new challenge, on a new journey, when you're transitioning? Who are you? And the great thing is that we get to define that for ourselves. Nobody can tell you who you are. You get to tell yourself who you are. And then that definition helps you to put on the courage clothes to now step into those spaces of fear and take action because yourself, the who-ness, is not challenged by the situation of fear. It
Right.
can only be refined. All that you stand to do is learn from this experience, but it won't define you and it won't confine you. So
Mm.
know who you are, and with that definition, step into those spaces that challenge you and cause you fear, understanding that you won't lose yourself, even if you lose in that moment, the opportunity, the friendship, the relationship, the salary. You do not lose, even if you lose an opportunity.
I think that is the fear, the losing of an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
The next question is about motivation behind Kill Fear, which is the book, and the Good Gas Monday. So let me start on the Good Gas Monday. So I started watching or listening to you a couple of years ago. So every morning on a Monday before I head out to work, ironing or getting ready, and I'm listening to you because it's motivation to start a job that or actually to go to work, and it's somewhere that I actually did not want to be at.
Wow.
So I would listen, and while listening, you would talk about if you need to find a next job, go out and find a job. You can't sit there and be comfortable in that space and expect to grow. And I
Mm-hmm.
mean, we'll dress up and we'll bathe and but we are not fresh in our movements. We are we're sedentary. We're right there, staying right there, and want to move and can't move. And I remember listening to it, and I mean, there's different situations that I wanted to come out of. I wanted to come out of a marriage. I wanted to come out of a job that I was in. I wanted to come out of so many things. And I remember you saying, just start, just get up and just do it. And I'm saying
Exactly.
to myself, it's not that easy. She's saying, no, just get up and just do it. And I'm like, well, it's not that easy to do it. I remember actually doing it and start sending out resumes because of what you had said. And in no time, I got another job. And in no time,
Wow.
I came out of that marriage. I mean, but I mean,
Yay.
yeah, it was difficult to do because you don't know what's coming next,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and you're afraid of the future of what's going to come next. Suppose, it's I think the problem is that we're afraid to be sophomores again. We're afraid to start all over again. So we want to stay where we're comfortable. We're at a certain place. We want to stay there because if we move from there, we're gonna have to start all over again, and it's hard. That's why many of us stay in jobs that we don't like. That's why many of us stay in relationships that we don't like. That's why many of us have friends that we really don't like, but we don't want to start new friendships. you
That's
know,
so true.
what is it that motivated you to do the Good Gas Mondays?
Well, I started doing Good Gas Mondays because Mondays were hard for me. I was in a very intense corporate space, a space that I loved, very challenging, and just really stretched you to the four corners of your potential. But it was new to me. At that time, I think I was 25 years old. I was in a managerial position. I was doing good work and I was hitting my KPIs and getting my bonuses at the end of the quarter. But I felt as though I was trading, trading peace and rest and wellness for success. And I
Mm,
don't think anybody should have to do that in the long term. There will be some moments in life, let's say you're doing your master's or your PhD, where you're just going to pull some late nights, long weekends. There's an intense business meeting that's coming up and you have to push really hard to meet a deadline to submit some proposals, but certainly not sustained over the long term. And I
right.
realized that I was in a space where that was the culture. And I started to interrogate myself because there are some people who will want that. For some people, that is good for them. And I started to ask, is this good for me? Is this something I will enjoy doing all the time? And so Good Gas Mondays was a space for me to have those discussions while I was trying to figure out how I wanted to manifest my potential. I was doing research, I was doing courses online, I was looking actively for ways to serve and to bring my purpose and my passion into the workspace so I could still feel joy and fulfillment while I was working. And as I learned more about myself, as I learned more about the brain, as I learned more about um, relationships, psychosocial needs that we have as human beings, I said, oh my goodness, I need
Mm-hmm.
to share this
Mm-hmm.
because these conversations are happening nowhere. And I wish somebody had told me this so that I could have felt less anxiety when the challenge was looking me in the face. And so Good Gas Mondays is a way for me to tackle one, the anxiety of a Monday morning and just get myself in the frame of mind to just shell down the week and take it on with excellence and purpose and passion, while at the same time sharing researched positions,
Right.
database positions on how we could make the most of our lives while being productive and passionate.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a space to share the knowledge, share the research, share the learning, share the lessons as I put certain things into practice while also charging up myself because one of the best ways to learn and to retain information is to teach it.
Right.
So anybody who's trying to improve their memory, one of the skills that you're encouraged to hone and sharpen is the ability to communicate what you have learned with others, because that proves that you understand it if you're able to clearly communicate it with someone else.
Right.
So it was an opportunity for me to retain the information by sharing, but I think more importantly, just get myself charged up for Mondays for the week and share that blessing of good energy and good gas with others who may be in a similar conundrum as I was.
Mm-hmm.
And I found it to create, I found that it created a community online.
Yes.
And since then, it has just been nurtured and it has grown. So we've moved now from just a live on Instagram to a podcast and a
Mm-hmm.
YouTube channel as well. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
grateful, very
Yes.
grateful.
I mean, and the truth is, even listening and looking on, because sometimes you'll forget and you say, "Oh, running late," and um, the vulnerability that you showed in terms of your human still. So yeah, I didn't do this well today. Even recently I was watching something on your Instagram, and you came on, you're afraid to show some pictures of your growth with the weight and whatever, and I'm like, wow. I mean, not everybody wants to do that. We all want to show the good part or the best part of ourselves. But I guess for me, looking on to you, it's, oh my goodness, she can be this vulnerable and be okay with it. you know you can be that transparent about yourself, and you're okay with it, even though you had shared before, you had anxieties before, etc.
Mhm. Mhm.
There's still persons out there who, like myself, are not, don't have anybody to be open with, or people don't really understand the anxieties that they go through regarding certain things, where it may be the job, it may be about their bodies, whatever it is, but you do that for us.
Thank you. Thank you. It's part of unearthing again the wholeness of who I am, and just understanding more and more every day that all the parts work together to serve the whole. So those spaces
Yes.
where I am weak and those spaces where I'm struggling is usually an indication that I need to reach out for help from somebody who is strong in that space. And for persons who have a sort of alpha type personality, or are natural go getters and high achievers, admitting that you are weak in an area again challenges your definition of self, because you are strength and there is no weakness, and you are a conqueror and you're a winner, so you don't lose that thing. And
Mm,
that kind of chokes out the vulnerability one. And vulnerability is the only pathway to creating community. You don't
right.
form relationships with people unless you are working together on something, unless you need their help, unless you are trusting their judgment and they're trusting yours. So relationships are deepened through trust. Trust
Right.
requires vulnerability, and vulnerability requires saying, I am weak here, and can you lend me strength? And can I give you strength in this space? So we
Mm,
lose opportunities to build strong relationships, to deeply connect with other human beings, and to fully understand the scope of our capacity, and consequently our incapacity, so that we can find the help we need to build more strength in a particular area. Um, so even in doing that, I know it communicates good values to the members in my community, that no matter how successful you are, you're going to fail at some things, and that is okay, because you're not required to be excellent at all things all the time. Give
right.
yourself room to be a human being, and be
Mm,
vulnerable enough to reach up for help when you need it.
mm. That's right. I mean, and we also need people sometimes around us to pull us, to say, hey, you can do this. I remember also, the first time I met you was on a radio program, and after the program, you had said to me, hey, why weren't you talking? And I was saying, no, I just said the other talk. Actually, what I needed to say was, no, I don't know, I don't want to say anything, and it comes off sounding anyway. And I'm not sure of myself. So if I'm not sure of myself, I
Yeah.
don't want to be there and giving an input, and I'm afraid of my voice. And
Uh,
I didn't want to. So when it is that you pinpointed it, I was like, whoa. I mean, I probably do need to talk up more. And I know they're trying to get me to talk, but do I like to talk? Do I like people hearing my opinions? Do I like I second guess myself with things. And I mean, even starting this podcast is the same thing. But then I said, hey, let me just start. Let me start. Starting is the key. Ain't nobody seeing me,
just
but they're
just
hearing
start.
me. So I've started.
Well, I want to just take a moment to celebrate that genesis process, because it's very hard to give birth to anything. It's much easier to continue something that somebody else has started, right?
Oh yes, oh
Um,
yes,
but to give birth to something again requires vulnerability and trusting that there is space for your voice and your experience, and
yes,
and stepping into um, that environment with a sense of trust. So I
yes.
celebrate that moment of birth for you
Of
on the
birth.
podcast.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. what are some of the strategies to kill fear, whether it is in business, relationships, friendships, jobs? What are some of the strategies that we can use?
The first would be self definition, because if you're clear on who you are, you will
Right.
also have a sense of power and authority going into various spaces. And it's the newness and uncertainty of some spaces that make us afraid, because we
Right.
don't quite know if we belong, we don't know if our voices will be heard, we don't know if we will fit in and we will be respected and we will be loved and we will be celebrated. So if you are firm enough in your definition of self so that the external validation can complement the definition, but it certainly is not the foundation of the
Okay.
definition. You have
Mm.
won the first battle, and I think it's the most important battle, and that's your
Okay.
emotional and spiritual um, environment. That ecosystem has to be healthy, and
Right.
you are responsible for that. That means being careful who you're listening to, because those things are deposited in your mind and your spirit.
Right.
You also have to take charge of the thoughts, because those are going to become your words, and those vibrate powerfully into other people's spirits, one, but it also sets a tone for you in your daily life. If you speak positively, positivity knows to come to you. The good in me
Right.
brings good to me. And so
Right.
if I allow the bad in me to have more voice and space, then of course that is going to bring bad to me. So you take
Yes.
charge of what's deposited in your spirit, take charge of what you're meditating on and thinking on, and consequently what you will say. How I do that second part has a lot to do with affirmation. So in my daily morning routine, I'm looking around to see if I have my planner with me. I didn't bring it inside here. I have um, meditations and affirmations that I repeat. Now
Okay.
it could be related to an emotional challenge I'm having in the first quarter of the year, and designing affirmations that affirm to me that I am good and the good in me brings good to me. Maybe I'm feeling powerless in a particular situation and I don't have the answer for it. I have an affirmation that tunes me into the power of the God that I serve. That this
Yes.
is God's day and I'm trusting God to take me through the day that God has designed. It's not
Yes.
my day. I don't know all the things that could happen, but God knows it, and I'm trusting God to take me through his or her day.
Yes.
I could be having challenges in terms of finances, managing finances, generating additional income, seeing returns on investment. Again, I have an affirmation related to money. Yes,
Mm.
I have a positive relationship with money.
Right.
I am enjoying the abundance I have, and I know abundance is on the way. So
Yes.
it depends on what difficulty I'm having in the moment. Instead of owning the difficulty and saying, boy, I am stressed. I am failing. This is terrible. I'm having the worst possible week or day. I find an affirmation that connects me to the positive side of the coin. Our brain don't need
Mm.
help to connect us to the negative side of the coin. That's so
Oh
natural. To
no.
the
Mm-hmm.
pessimistic and to the doubtful, and the brain don't need any help there. The brain needs help, however, to find the light in the tunnel, and to look to the sun and to look to the opportunity and the abundance. So I use morning affirmations as a way to do that. I mean, every year I write a new annual prayer. So again,
Mm.
whatever the goal is I have for the year, I have a prayer that I write down specific to those goals. And I say
Okay.
that prayer every morning, because again, I believe my words have power. So I continue to
Mm.
declare that. And it's amazing because I keep saying it. I keep looking for it in my life. And so I see it and I feel affirmed and I say, yes, this is working. And I keep doing the good thing. And then that builds a positive routine for me when it comes down to tackling fearful situations. So I have my emotional and spiritual clothes on. I know who I am and I know what I have the power to do. I'm also taking control of my thoughts. I don't allow negative and wet towel thoughts to spend too much time in my spirit. And I call on
Mm.
positive thoughts when I need them. And then the third tool for me to kill fear has a lot to do with my routines. But my
Okay.
routines are strengthened by my community. So I cannot be on a mission to expand my financial fortune and hang around people who waste money, waste time,
Mm-hmm.
have a flossing mentality versus an investment mentality. My habit not going to stick because I'm in an environment that dig up the seed as soon as
Yep.
I plant it. So I
Yep.
have to locate myself now in a space of farmers. So if we say we're gonna be focusing on planting seeds, I surround myself with people who either plant seed already, who are also trying to learn how to plant seeds, who want to
Right.
help me water my soil. So I locate the habits in environments that will allow it to thrive. So again, if I'm taking on a new project in terms of business, I link up with my entrepreneurial friends. They are the
Mm.
ones I need to be having conversations with. It's COVID-19. How are you taking risks with your business? How are you learning? What you do? And I ensure that the fear I have and the insecurity I have about what could go wrong in business get answered by people who are professionals in that zone of excellence. They
Yes.
are excellent in entrepreneurship. I go and I consult them. I don't consult myself. I have no grand experience with entrepreneurship to convince
Mm.
myself of anything. So I have to find the right kind of reinforcement. Otherwise, the internal compass that is set on insecurity is going to win because it's
Yes.
going to start asking some questions. And Krystal, what you know about that? Then Krystal, how you don't have nobody in your family will do that. So how you think you can do that? No, Krystal, you're overreach now. So I can't listen to
Mm.
that voice. I have to go and find other voices that complement the ambition and that can give me
Yes.
solid
Yes.
guidance. Sometimes the
Yes.
guidance is, boy, Crystal, bad timing, don't do it now. But I take counsel from people who are experts in that soil type or that seed or that
Yes.
fruit. They grow
Yes.
that fruit. I'm going to use
Mm-hmm.
to find
You're going
out,
to use
is
it.
this a
Yes.
good time for me to
Mm-hmm.
plant this fruit? And I take counsel and guidance from them so that the right habit is sustained, one. And if I'm to build a new habit, I can pull on their experience to do it well. And so fear gets a good whooper
Yes.
with all three
Yes.
applied.
I like that. And the last one also speaks to the when you spoke about the persons who we have around us, that is so important, because sometimes we have friends who are really not beneficial at all. In terms of
Yeah, yeah.
how, as you say, if it is that they want to floss all the time and they don't want to save, for no, they don't want to look at the future. They're living in now and here and now, and we don't have any time for that in
And
this
they will
time.
they'll stimulate your own insecurity, right? So they
Yes.
believe that they will always be poor. So when they see you taking on some things that want to challenge that generational curse of poverty in your family, they are
Mm.
going to remind you of the poverty you're coming from and ask you questions like, then why you think you can do that? You don't have the experience
Oh
versus
yes.
saying, go ahead and do it because even though I've not done it before, I know that it is possible. So
Yes.
your community can either stimulate fear or courage, and we have to be careful not to leave our seed careless in the hands of those we're surrounded by.
How does one live a courageous life?
Um, oh yeah. So that's a decision I personally have to make every day because
Mhm.
there's always an excuse to not be excellent, and I think courage is part of that excellence recipe. It's not a quest to be perfect, but it's a commitment to show up as your highest and best self every day. And
Right.
that has nothing to do with the clothes you will wear, whether or not your side abs can be seen when you put on a bikini, or even the house you live in. It has more to do with the quality of your character. So for me, a courageous life and a well lived life and an excellent life is one where you get up every day looking to cleanse the character because we always have a little blotch or spot that we can clean up, but
Right.
a very disciplined approach to cleaning up who we are as human beings. So the
Right.
quality of the thought, the quality of the speech, the quality of the action, just being committed every day to doing the hard work of improving ourselves. And you'll find that as you get better at being you, you get so um, little hesitation from your spirit to show up with courage because you're working on becoming your best self. And quite
Right.
naturally, it involves taking risks and doing new things and being brave. But you're okay with that because it's part of the dirty work to cleanse who you are. So let me give you a real example. When I was stepping into the political space, one of the feelings that sought to overpower me was a sense of being being underprepared or ill-equipped to operate in a new space. I started saying things to myself like, but where you going to get the money from, right? You know to say everybody with a college that a doctor, lawyer, businessman, whatever, they
Mm-hmm.
come in with wealth, and you don't have wealth that you could just throw around for the
Right.
politics. So where you going to get money from, eh? And that was a fear of uncertainty, a fear of starting this thing without knowing everything there is to know, like how to
Mm.
fundraise. I didn't know that. So
Mm.
if I kept focused on the things that I did not know, and if I kept focused on the ways that I was not prepared, then I would not have given myself room to know new things and to get prepared for the
Right.
new journey. So because I get up every day now working on myself and looking for ways to improve my character and the quality of service that I bring into this world, naturally I saw where I had a deficit. One, I didn't know very well fundraising.
Right.
And because I'm good not knowing everything, I had to go and find people who knew it. And the
Right.
more I reached out for help is the more I found that there were people who wanted to help me. Now, if
Right.
the fear of not having the money won, I wouldn't have started. But
Right.
the courage came from understanding that, yeah, this is something I don't know, but guess what? It's something I can learn. And if I
Yes.
can't learn it, there's somebody who knows how to do it, and I just need to ask for help. My ego is not so big that I'm going to allow
Ah.
people to
Yes.
prevent me from asking for help.
Yes.
And I'm not so assured of myself that I don't recognize where I am weak and where I will need support. So a courageous life is really inside work, knowing who you are, knowing what you have available, knowing what you don't have available, and just again being humble enough, patient enough, and compassionate enough with yourself to ask for help
Help.
and receive it when it comes. It's
Yes.
funny, I shared today online that it's actually a quote from, I'll tell you her name shortly, but it says, your limitations make room or create space for other people's gifts. Your limitations
Mm.
make way for the gifts of others. And it was said by Joan Chittister. And I
Okay.
live every morning for that revelation to sit in my spirit. My limitations, while it's not ideal that I can't do and I don't know how to do, those
Right.
very limitations keep me humble, and it
Yes.
allows me to continue to connect with people from that place of humility.
Yes.
So because I'm not stepping into a space with bravado and ego and an insufferable sense of being a know-it-all, it's very rare that I feel too afraid to take action, because wherever my limitations start, somebody else's excellence begins, and I know I can work with them. I
Yes.
am sure that I am willing to work with somebody else to bring me up where I am weak. And I'm also
Yes.
willing to serve them where they are weak.
Where they're
So
weak.
courage emerges with that frame of mind. Outside of that frame of thinking, we're in competition mode, we're afraid of losing, we're afraid of being judged, we're afraid of failing, because it's a competition to prove who is a winner all the time.
Yes. Yes.
Humility helps us to feel less pressure in a world that loves the winner all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Feel less
Mm-hmm.
pressure and
Yeah.
to feel more purpose and
To feel more
passion.
purpose and passion. That's good. Okay, and listening to you, I think that's why some people probably are free to take risk, because if they don't know it, they don't want to go and say to someone, I don't know it, because they don't want people to look at them as, oh, you don't know this, how comes you don't know to do this and whatever, and they don't want to, you don't want to look away or feel away in front of
Hmm.
people. So we
Hmm.
don't educate ourselves because of what people are going to think about us. So we stay
Exactly.
uneducated about it.
Can you
So
imagine? Can you imagine not learning how to do something because you're
well,
afraid of what people are going to think?
uh-huh.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, we just need to step out of that mindset. And I think if it is that majority of us do that, we'll be better off. Is failing a bad thing? And how does one kill fear of past failures?
So short answer, no. Failure is not a bad thing.
Okay.
One of the best ways I've seen it put to date is actually by Dr. Terry Carell Reed. She has
Mm-hmm.
a podcast titled Redirection, and the essence of it is that failure sometimes is redirection. When you
Mm.
fail at something, it is a moment to assess what skills you don't have now, which caused you to not be successful in this pursuit,
Mm-hmm.
whether this aligns with your purpose, your passion, your path. And if the answer is no, how do you then choose purpose in this moment of failure? How do you change direction to find your true north? So many of us are pushed into careers, relationships, degree programs, countries to live in, not because we chose these things,
Nope.
but because someone chose it for us, or
Mm-hmm.
the community made us feel that not choosing these things would make us less than. So if you are of a particular um, financial background or social class, there are just some to do's and not to do's that you must comply with. And you'll get to 30, 40, 50 years old and you realize, I never wanted this for myself. Others wanted it for me, and I just wasn't brave enough to tell them I didn't want it. I didn't want to look like a failure in their eyes. So whether
Mm.
you fail as a consequence of being unprepared or you fail because you were busy being successful at the thing that was not fulfilling, and so at the end of your life you feel like a failure because you didn't
Yep.
do what you were really on earth to do.
On earth to do. Mm-hmm.
In either of those realities, recognizing that you have fallen short gives you an opportunity to assess again, what skills do I need? What path am I on? Why did I choose this path? Do I have new information that will allow me to make a better choice? And what could be the best use of my energy, my skill, and my talent? In the moment you recognize that you are not successful at something, just begin to interrogate, is this suited to my highest calling? In Buddhism, they call it your dharma, your purpose. Is this suited to my purpose? If it is, then what skills do I need to do a better job at this thing? Emotionally, what energy am I bringing to the space that is making it an unsuccessful encounter? And if the answer is no, it's not suited to my purpose, then what could be the best use of my skill and my talent? How could I redirect, reposition, reassess? But I don't see failure as a bad thing. In fact, one of the ways I frame failure is just an experience. You know, like all other things, you're experiencing it. You're experiencing the rain, you're experiencing
Mm-hmm.
the sun, you're experiencing success. You are experiencing failure. And nobody gets wet in the rain and says, oh my God, I am no rain. No, you're experiencing some rain and then your clothes
Right.
will dry. So
Right.
why when you experience a failure, you go, oh my God, I am a failure? No, you're not. You're just experiencing it. And if you pick up the lessons and pay attention to life data and pull out what you're supposed to learn, that failure becomes a powerful tool for you
Yes.
to reapply yourself to the same
Yes.
situation with more experience this time, or choose a new experience to attempt with those new skills and the new found data you have.
And sometimes, if it is that we don't learn the lesson the first time, sometimes we go through it over again until we learn the lesson and now is able to move on from that situation.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes. So thank you so much, Krystal.
It's been my pleasure, Jade. Thank you very much for having me.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being on the program. It's really appreciated and I'm so excited. If people want to hear you or listen to you, they can connect with you. You can let them know where they can connect with you, please.
Oh, absolutely. I am so online. You can find me on Instagram at Krystal Tomlinson, and that's Krystal. Um, Instagram at Krystal Tomlinson. You can also tune into my podcast, Good Gas Mondays, which is available anywhere you listen to podcasts on
Mm-hmm.
Apple, Google, Stitcher, um, wherever you get your podcasts. Good Gas Mondays is there. And we're also on YouTube as well. You can search Krystal Tomlinson, Good Gas Mondays, and you'll find our videos. Um, yeah, and you can also purchase my book, Kill Fair, The Art of Courageous Living. It's available on Amazon and shipped just about anywhere in the world. So I hope
Yes.
your listeners are able to grab a copy, read it, and send me an email with the feedback. My email address is actually on the back of the book, so we can hear from our readers as well.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much. And thank you guys for listening to the Unfiltered by Jade. And we'll be back next week, Tuesday. Thank you. Bam, bam, bide.
Bam bam bide, badu bidi boo. Bam bam bide, bam bam bide.